You guys, it is my favorite time of morning. It's time to spill some GMT. We're switching it up a little bit this morning. The entertainment world has been rocked and the legal system put under the spotlight in a trial that's captured headlines and public debate. A jury of 8 men and 4 women spent their Monday deliberating in the federal sex trafficking trial of Sean Diddy Combs, and they are back again this morning, at it again. And as we wait for a verdict, we want to break down the trial a little bit more for you. So here to help me do that is Anthony Farmer with Farmer Law Group and Jamisha Morgan, your neighborhood Esquire. Good morning to you both.
Good morning.
So glad to have you guys here and help us all out, because I think we're all a little bit lost, right? As more information comes out, we kind of get lost in the sauce. So we want to break it down for everyone today. First and foremost, I want to ask the biggest question of them all. Do you think his celebrity persona, do you think it has helped him, hurt him? Do you think lawyers have used this as maybe a legal strategy as they were defending or prosecuting him? What are your thoughts on just him and as big as he is as a mogul in the industry?
Ladies first.
Sure. So I don't know that I think his persona has helped or hurt him, aside and apart from the public scrutiny attached to it. However, I do think there's sort of a reputation attached to Diddy in regards to throwing these types of parties.
Right.
And the commentary around, not to go to a Diddy party. And I think that has played itself out in the public as we've seen some of the allegations and the evidence come out.
Yeah, absolutely. What about you?
And as a defense attorney, you always want to take an opportunity to clean up your client's past. As she stated, he has a reputation, and you want to do things to kind of clean up his image.
Counteract it almost.
Absolutely.
Okay, interesting. Now, the jury deliberated for over 5 hours yesterday, sent 2 notes to the judge, one complaining that a fellow juror kind of did not understand the instructions. They were sent with very specific instructions as they were deliberating. Another requesting clarification on what exactly qualifies as drug distribution. I think a lot of us can probably get mixed up with that. So I would love if you guys could maybe break down each of those things, what instructions comes with deliberating on a jury, but also, is it hard to decipher as just a regular civilian what these drug or even charges are, all of the charges? Is it hard to decipher?
Sure. So I'll start with the note about the fellow juror. They reached out to the judge and said there's a juror who can't follow instructions. And if I'm the prosecution, I don't want, to use a replacement juror. I want the juror to kind of follow the instructions, right? If I'm the defense, I want anything that's going to help me get a mistrial. And so the defense is saying, let's let it play out so that if this juror continues to be a bad actor, we can push for a mistrial. And if that doesn't work, we have a basis for an appeal.
Got it.
Whereas the prosecution, they want the jury to be able to make their determination. They've set through all this evidence. You don't want to try it again.
Okay, so you don't want to go for that mistrial because you do not want to set yourself up to try and re-give the same information. Can you even give the same information in a retrial?
You can, but what happens is the defense now knows your evidence, your strategy. They can work against that. So you're trying to avoid the mistrial if you're the prosecution.
Interesting. Okay, so what do you think is going on inside this morning as they deliberate?
So, confusion. The good thing about it, as a lawyer, you like the fact that a jury is trying.
Yeah.
They are actually going through those instructions and asking questions about the definition of distribution. So that's positive from a lawyer's standpoint.
Absolutely. Okay, so do you think we'll get a verdict anytime soon because this juror is possibly in, possibly out? How long do you think? Do you think it's a delay?
Well, so right now they've said, hey, go back, continue to follow the instructions. They sort of made note of it. The parties agreed to send that juror and send everyone back and continue to follow those instructions. I would hope that we would get a verdict by end of week, but when you've had 34 witnesses over a 30-day trial, you just never know.
Right. I heard them on the radio this morning saying it's basically like a 4th of July showdown. Either he's going to be free on 4th of July or he's going to be locked up on 4th of July. So we'll see. Now, tell me, do you think the charges, do you think they were well supported? Do you think they went in strong? Do you think it was a weakness for them, the charges that they chose?
In terms of the top 2 charges, the RICO and the sex trafficking, I think it's likely that there may be a not guilty.
Okay.
In terms of the transportation for prostitution, that was much stronger on the government side.
It seemed like they almost focused heavily on that piece, right, with Jane Doe, with Cassie Ventura. It seemed like they heavily focused specifically on the prostitution, and the racketeering was also kind of just thrown in there anyway. I know you wanted to kind of expand on exactly what a racketeering or a RICO charge is. Can you kind of, for us that don't understand, can you break it down for us? What does that look like, and how hard is it to prove in court?
Sure. So historically, RICO charges have been used to sort of get rid of or eradicate gangs in the United States. And we saw it a lot in sort of the mob and mafia era in New York, where, you know, the government was trying to get rid of mob bosses, and they were trying to figure out how to do so because said boss didn't really have his hands in actually committing the criminal acts. And so similarly here, what the government is trying to prove is that P. Diddy in this case has engaged in a pattern of coercive or illegal activity that rises to the occasion of concerted or organized crime.
Got it. Okay, so making sure that he has a hand in it.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Okay, I can understand that. I'm breaking it down for all of us who do not have a legal degree. I do want to get back, because we talked about the defense a little bit. You're actually a defense lawyer. So if you can expand upon the fact that they didn't call any witnesses, which I think everyone thought was odd. Do you think this helped or hurt his case? And honestly, I'm shocked that he did that anyway, because of the simple fact that I think most of us would choose to defend ourselves on the stand, right? Tell our own story.
And the jury can't hold that against him, the fact that he chooses not to testify.
Right.
That's constitutional right. But I think the defense is signaling to the jury that we feel we've successfully debunked the government's case and that there's doubt. So we don't need to call any witnesses.
Interesting. Okay, got it. So they're basically like, you've done it for us. We no longer need to expand upon it.
Absolutely.
Got it. Got it. Okay, so what do you guys see in the future in the next 4 days? Do you see him possible? Well, I want to get a guilty or a free verdict from you guys. What do you think? Because I know you said that 2 of the counts you think he'll get off from, and 1 of the counts, that prostitution account, that he will be found guilty
This
on
is
that.
a 50-50 case.
Okay.
And typically, the government usually presents cases that are overwhelming in evidence, convincing evidence. So it's 50-50 at this point.
Ooh, that makes me nervous. That makes me nervous. I don't know why it makes me nervous. Because of the simple fact that I think we saw all the evidence. Everything was kind of put out there, no matter how vulgar. So I think the real question is, no matter how vulgar it is, does it cross the line of being illegal?
Yeah, I think a lot of this comes down to, is he just morally bankrupt, or is he a criminal?
Right.
And I agree. I think the prosecution can at least prove that he's engaged in that federal prostitution. And the question becomes, does it rise to the level of organized crime? And we've heard a lot of evidence, but you have a situation where prosecution is saying this is a crime, and defense is saying we're just putting his, sexual immorality on trial.
Out there, yeah, out there for the public. Okay, so give it to me, straightforward. This is your prediction, guilty or not guilty?
I think he's guilty. I don't know that the jury will agree.
Okay.
I think that this will likely be a mixed verdict.
Yeah, I think so too.
I agree.
Guilty on some, not guilty on others.
Okay.
The defense successfully put forth the theory of consent.
Okay, all right. Well, we will just have to see. You're right. They did show a lot of evidence with those text messages that the consent was there.
Yeah.
Tell me, where can people find you guys if they're maybe going through their own legal issue out there, hopefully not as serious as Diddy's?
Of course. I am Jamisha is my lawyer on all social media platforms, and the Neighborhood Esquire, if you wanted to Google me.
Very good. And then for you?
FarmerLawGroup.com, Anthony Farmer. You can reach us at 214-948-8333.
Very good. Well, we will keep our eyes open and peeled, and hopefully we'll see by the 4th of July if Diddy is free or not.